love of football. It's time for victory. We making history. We the new big thing. Ain't no mystery. For the love of football. For the love.
What's good? It's time for week number 2. Welcome to the XFL Pregame. I'm the coach. This is Elise Ashton, and we want you to be completely interactive with us. Use a hashtag XFL Pregame, hashtag for the love of football. And Elise, today, 2 more big matchups. We start with a showdown in the East. The New York Guardians, led by quarterback Matt McGloin, who shut down the Tampa Bay Vipers last Sunday 23-3, will face a very impressive Cardell Jones and the DC Defenders. McGloin said after the Week 1 win, "I had fun playing football again for the first time in a long time." Cardell Jones, very efficient at quarterback for DC, the former Ohio State quarterback right there. Now, you can catch that game today, 2 p.m. Eastern on ABC.
And later today, the Tampa Bay Vipers, who scored a league-low 3 points on opening weekend, will go against Brandon Silvers and the Seattle Dragons. Both teams will be fighting for their first win. Coach, the decision to go for a field goal here had the fans questioning why Trestman made that call.
Now, he's a former head coach in the NFL. Normally, you'd go for a field goal here. The XFL rules are different, though. We're going to tell everybody a little bit later in the show exactly why going for a field goal there, the wrong move in an XFL game. That game, of course, on Fox at 5 p.m. Eastern time. But Elise, it's now time for news and headlines from around the league, and we start with major changes coming out of Los Angeles.
That's right, Coach. After LA's loss to the Houston Roughnecks in Week 1, head coach Winston Moss was ready to make changes and a statement to his players and staff. Moss fired his defensive coordinator, Pepper Johnson, whose defense allowed Houston's quarterback, P.J. Walker, to throw 4 touchdown passes in their Week 1 loss. In the post-game press conference, Moss said he needed 3 things from the coordinators: win the turnover battle, win the position battle, and the explosive play battle. That didn't happen. Johnson previously was a defensive line coach with the Jets, Bills, and Patriots.
And now Winston Moss and the Wildcats, they weren't done with just the firing of Pepper Johnson. We now have our first big trade of this season. The Wildcats trade linebacker Anthony Johnson to the DC Defenders for cornerback Bradley Silve. Johnson played with the Redskins in 2015. As for Silve, he played at Alabama, 2 national championships, and in Week 1 had the game-clinching pick 6 against Seattle. Now, the Tampa Bay Vipers, speaking of them, they had a tough loss in Week 1 against the New York Guardians. The Vipers announced today that quarterback Aaron Murray, he's out with a foot injury, and he will not play today in Seattle. Murray reportedly suffered the injury during the first half of last week's game and has not been able to practice this entire week.
And, Coach, big news this week coming out of Houston. The XFL announced that the 2020 championship game will be held at Houston's TDECU Stadium Sunday, April 26, 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Now, Coach, here's the part that I'm trying to get more details on, of course, and the fans want to know, is there going to be a halftime show? Those details will be announced later in the season. Coming up, we're going to have reports from both game sites today. But first, here are the top plays of Week 1.
They did get the first down. They go to the end zone. Caught. Did he stay in bounds? Touchdown. Jordan Smallwood.
That's way too easy.
Here comes the pressure from DC. Throwing to the left. It's picked off. Intercepted. Bradley Sill down the sideline for another pick 6 for the DC Defenders. Punter back in his own end zone, and the punt is blocked. Brock Miller has his punt blocked and recovered for the touchdown.
A lot easier than I thought it would be, I tell you that.
Out of the pocket is Walker. Wide open is Mobley again. This time they connect. Touchdown, Roughnecks. Humphrey is the set back to the left of Cardell Jones. Cardell Jones, a flip. Back to Rodgers, back to Jones, a man wide open down the sideline. It's Kari Lee. 5, goal line, touchdown. DC Defenders with some razzle-dazzle to
All right, time to take a look at our two matchups today. We start with the New York Guardians against the DC Defenders at Audi Field. Let's check in with our own Andrew Brill, who is coming to us from the Guardians team hotel. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Elise. I am here in D.C. for this highly anticipated matchup between the D.C. Defenders and the New York Guardians. And let's talk about the Guardians for a second. They have some holes to fill on their offensive line. Both their center, Ian Silberman, and their right guard, Garrett Brumfield, both ruled out for this game, so they won't be playing. They did bring in some replacements. Bunchy Stallings, they signed. He was with the team in training camp. He was also with them in mini camp. So he knows the playbook and should be able to fill in. Now, the Guardians are going to try and run the ball a little bit more and a little bit more effective than they did last week. Only ran the ball about a third of the time and averaged under 3 yards per carry. Now, on the D.C. side, Pep Hamilton looked at the Guardians game, obviously, and is trying to take a page out of their playbook, getting after the quarterback. So he made a trade this week. He traded Bradley Sylvie, who had a pick 6 for them last week, for big defensive end Anthony Johnson from L.A. Now, Johnson's going to try and get after the quarterback for Pep Hamilton, make Matt McGloin a little bit more uncomfortable. Coach Hamilton also said he would like to run the ball a little bit more effectively, too. They ran the ball about half their amount of offensive plays, but also averaged only under 3 yards per carry. This is going to be a great game, great matchup between the Defenders and the Guardians. I'm in the nation's capital. Andrew Brill, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Andrew. Two teams undefeated go head-to-head today. For the second week in a row, Cardell Jones is up against a stout defense. In fact, even Vegas thinks that Cardell Jones could have issues today.
Well, they do think he could have issues, but they have a lot of confidence, Vegas does, in the Defenders as a team. In fact, they open as a 7-point favorite, and the over-under is right around, depending on where you look, 47, though, on the Action Network.
Now, Coach, why is gambling in the XFL important?
I hate it, and a lot of fans hate this when the announcers, you get to the end of a game and they go, well, a lot of people are still interested. No, here in the XFL, gambling is not the exception. It's the norm. People do it. They enjoy it. Example, Week 1, Game 1. The over-under was 52. It was 31-19. Late in the fourth quarter, ball inside the 5. Touchdown. Field goal, it goes over. Instead, fumble. No points. It comes in on the under, and that's what we call, Elise, on the over, a bad beat.
Okay, and according to the Action Network, Game 2 has the Vipers a 2-point favorite over the Dragons, and the over-under is 47.5.
I'm glad you did your homework. I'm very, very impressed. Now, there are some nuggets that we need to hit on in this second game. We start with the quarterbacks. According to the reports and the game notes, Brandon Silver's a quarterback for Seattle. He has been upgraded to probable. He should go today. Now, Quentin Flowers, he'll be playing quarterback for the Vipers. We know that Aaron Murray has been ruled out with a foot injury. Now, this game all about the wide receivers. On one side, Austin Prohl, the son of Ricky Prohl, former NFL wide receiver. He scored the very first XFL touchdown a week ago. He scored 2 in that game. On the other side, you've got Mr. Daniel Williams. He led the league Week 1 with 123 yards receiving. However, his offense unable to find the end zone. They've got to do that today. That game, again, Fox at 5 p.m. Eastern Time.
One of the standout players last week on the Seattle Dragons was linebacker Steven Johnson, who had 8 tackles in Week 1. Johnson played on 4 NFL teams. Here's what he had to say on why his playing style is so fan-friendly.
I've had people say a lot. I've had people say, I'm fast and I cover the field. People know me as a leader. People know me as being a tackling machine, a hard hitter. I like to do a lot. I lift with the O-line, but I run with the DBs. So, I like to be a guy who can come downhill and, known as a smash mouth linebacker, but I pride myself on covering anybody out of the backfield or anybody, in the slot. I'm excited to be on this team and, see where the coaches put me and, just go out there and be the best that I can be and help my team win a championship. They always say good things about Seattle. They say, their fans, they love sports. The food is good. Everybody's nice. And that's all you need, to be honest. I love the camaraderie they have between, the different sports teams and their fans. For example, the Seattle Seahawks, they call their fans the 12s. And nowhere in the NFL are they referred to as fans, as, members of the field or members that are on the field. So I thought that was going to be super exciting to have a fan base behind you that can, potentially, help you guys win more games.
Steven Johnson really established himself week 1 as the heart and soul of this Seattle defense. But we know in the XFL, it's about offense and it's about points. And if you don't score enough, you're not going to win. It's as simple as that. Seattle's got to do better offensively today.
We'll see what happens today, week 2. And as we continue our countdown to game 1 today in D.C., here at the XFL, we want to be completely interactive with you, the fan, because this league is all about fans first.
You know, Elise, I thought it was crazy. Cool, in fact, that you would have all of your celebrity friends tweet about the XFL this week.
Oh, yeah, like my buddy John Legend.
Oh, yes, him.
I ain't mad at this XFL action, he says.
Well, he's a huge Ohio State fan, loves Columbus, loves the Buckeyes. Great seeing John Legend watching the XFL.
And here are our troops watching the game. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, Houston Roughnecks really embracing the troops. We love the troops. And I don't know what time of the day it is over there or night, but they're watching the XFL, and I love it.
And on the sidelines, NFL Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. He says it's great to have football back.
You're talking about one of the great quarterbacks of all time, certainly one of the great Dallas sports personalities, and the #1 guy at Fox with Joe Buck. Great to have him at the game.
And the St. Louis Seltzer Party, a victory party.
Well, Elise, you've heard it so many times said, there ain't no party like a seltzer. No, that's not actually what they say. But, you know, there's a first time for everything, right?
That's right.
Are you ready for week 2?
Week 2, let's go.
Okay, Elise, she has her jobs to do. I've got my jobs to do. And you, the fan, you've got your jobs to do. Defend Guardians, 2 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Then at 5 p.m. Eastern on Fox, it's the Vipers and the Dragons. It's going to do it for us. She's Elise. I'm the coach. We'll see you right back here on Sunday. Enjoy the games.
Ready to mold up in your mind.